Welcome to a new Teen CGC 9.8 video. Today I have 5 9.8 comics I would invest in now. And luckily over the years I've been able to invest in a few of these, but there are a few on the list that I do not have. So yeah, a solid list of investment grade 9.8 comics to consider. The first one is a Dr. Aphra #1 from 2017. This is the first solo Dr. Aphra comic book. And still pretty under the radar, I find, though. Yeah, I was really surprised that there's not too many of them graded in the first printing. And I do like the first printing cover, too. Yeah, I think Dr. Aphra's looking pretty cute on the first printing. So there's 58 9.8s in the first print. A 1 of 58. 43.6% is the 9.8 ratio. And certainly, you know, if your budget's a little bit higher, you know, you can go after a Darth Vader 3 in the 9.8 first appearance of Dr. Aphra. On that one, I think that's one's maybe about $450 to $500 nowadays. But this Dr. Aphra #1, a little bit more under the radar, and these first solo titled comics usually end up being pretty well collected over time. So some recent auction prices I've saw for this one, and this one's interesting because there's one on eBay for like a really fair price, $202.50 and $219.95. I've saw this one sell on some recent auctions, but on eBay right now in Canada. There's one for $189.95 in like a flat buy it now, which is you know, a good amount under those recent auction prices that I saw. So I was really tempted on this one. Yeah, I think if I was maybe a little bit more bigger of a Dr. Aphra fan, I would have went after that $189.95 one in the 9.8. One of those 58 out there. There's not too many of these, so I think that's a great price. If you're kind of seeing this one early, you really like this idea. So Dr. Aphra #1, somehow still a little under the radar, but the first solo titled Dr. Aphra book. And I'm going to, yeah, $189.95 I'll say is a price target to aim for. And, you know, maybe consider that one on eBay. Alrighty, next one, it's a Transformers #1 in a first printing. I do have a CBCS 9.8 of Transformers #1. Kind of wish I still had the CGC 9.8 as well. Mine's a pretty decent copy. The colors I think could be a little bit better. Every now and then I just see like a really nice CGC 9.8 centered with, you know, banging colors, and I get a little bit jealous. But the CBCS 9.8, pretty great one to have. This is just a no-brainer 1980s comic book to invest in. First appearance of Transformers, 533 9.8s in the blue label. 12.9% is the 9.8 ratio. And a recent sale for this one I saw go for $2,350 in a CGC 9.8. Interesting, there's one on eBay right now that is up for auction. I think it's like 1,900 or so with a day or two left, so it looks like it'll probably go a little bit over 2,000. This is just one to target though. Yeah, I think it's a great investment grade one too. I think over time, just slow and steady, this one's going to rise in value. Transformers, a huge brand. This is the first appearance. Hopefully that one, the one on the auction, goes a little bit lower than 2,350. I believe that seller has another one up as well. So if you want a Transformers #1 in a 9.8, could be a good time right now with a few on eBay. Looks like they're going to go kind of right around that fair value, which, yeah, a little bit under 2,350, let's call it, I think. A Transformers #1 is pretty much a no-brainer investment grade 9.8 to consider. Okay, next one here. Get this one standing up. It's an Amazing Spider-Man #194. First appearance of Black Cat Felicia Hardy on this one. This one's another, like, a bit of a no-brainer. Pretty expensive one, though. I find recently, too, it's sort of added another, you know, 10 or 20% in price from some of the prices that I saw, you know, just about 3 months ago. Yeah, kind of the directs look like they're almost going for what the newsstands used to go for. We'll get into some of the prices in a moment. But I think there's a lot of potential with Black Cat. Yeah, I think you know, in some of these Spider-Man movies, it would just make so much sense to bring in a Black Cat. They could fit her in the story so many ways. And, you know, they haven't done Black Cat yet. On top of that, though, this is just a great 9.8 to invest in. If, you know, Black Cat was never going to be in a movie, this one would still stand on its own as a great one. And I think one that's going to, you know, trend up over time for sure. 428 9.8s in the blue label. 5.7% is the 9.8 ratio. So of all graded copies, only in the blue label, only 5.7% of them are 9.8s. That's pretty fantastic. So you know what, you can kind of consider, I feel like most of the Amazing Spider-Man key issues are kind of a little bit on the cool down, and I feel like it's a decent time to buy them. So Amazing Spider-Man 238. I saw one of these go for kind of 2,800 and something recently. It was in the direct edition. Amazing Spider-Man 252, 1,700. We documented one that it went for. And Amazing Spider-Man 300. That one's kind of going from like 5,000 to up to kind of 5,600 or so. So all these Amazing Spider-Mans, I think, are keys are kind of no-brainers, to be honest, in the 9.8. So a recent one, price on 194, $4,494. That's in a direct edition as well. So I was sort of used to the directs, I think, going for just a lick under $4,000, and then the newsstands sort of going for $4,500, getting up to around $5,000. But these are direct editions. So this one maybe heating up just a little bit as well, but absolutely one you want to consider if you're serious about investing in 9.8s. And I do think there's a little bit of like pop culture potential with Black Cat. Hopefully her getting in a movie at some point here. Okay, the next one is a Dark Horse Presents number 36. This one's the first appearance of Alien vs. Predator in comic books. This is a pretty cool one. This one, there's not a lot of 9.8s out there, and it's got kind of the black cover, so I feel like it's going to be a really tough black cover. And probably a good bet. I know the Disney had got the rights back for Alien and Predator, and probably a good bet, like one of the first movies they would come out with is like an Alien versus Predator. So this one's a bit under the radar right now, but it's a great collector item in a 9.8, and certainly a lot less money than like Predator number 1. So I think there's a little bit of value here, and maybe it can make up some ground on Predator number 1, just given some of the prices I'm seeing here. There's a 44 9.8s in a blue label, so 1 of 44 is just a great collector item, certainly if you're a Aliens versus Predator fan. 15.9% is the 9.8 ratio. Saw one of this one sell in a 9.8 auction, $239.87. That's a really good price. I think you're a big Aliens or a big Predator fan, one of those 44 for $239.87. Great price. I'd probably be willing to kind of pay up to $250 to $275 for this one if I was a big fan of this one. And if your budget's higher, there's that Predator number 1. I think that one's going around $800 in a 9.8, and then Aliens 1 in a 9.8. And the first printing is like, you can maybe get that one under 2,000, but there's not a lot of them. So, but that one's probably over 2,000 in a 9.8. But a Dark Horse Presents 36, probably the best kind of underrated Alien Predator key issue, and $239.87 I think is great value. So that's a price target to aim for on that one. Okay, and the last one here on comics I would invest in now, and kind of putting my money where my mouth is a bit on this one. It's a Jurassic Park number 1 in a 9.8. So I did notice like a few sellers in Canada had some Jurassic Park number 1s up when I'd kind of made my last video, and I ended up getting a deal done with one of the sellers. I was familiar with them, and I contacted them through Instagram really quick, and we were able to get a deal for a Jurassic Park number 1 9.8 for I ended up paying $260 US dollars shipped. And so that's kind of, in my book, kind of $240, because it's always about $20 shipping at least to Canada. So that's pretty much a great price for me, I think. We had documented one that went in an auction for $340. I think this one, where there's maybe a little bit of a lull. The thing is, the trailer for this Jurassic Park Domination, it dropped about a month ago, and the movie's not coming out until June something, I believe it is. So there might be just a little bit of a lull right now in between the trailer and when the movie comes out. And I have a feeling, too, there's some sellers out there that are getting a bunch of these graded, because there seems to be like quite a few on eBay. I actually didn't look this morning. Hopefully they didn't all sell or anything, but there was, when I made that last video, there was like 5 or 6 of these on eBay in a 9.8. So maybe some sellers are getting it graded. There's a few on the market, and you're able to get it for a decent deal. I think $240, I was really, or $260, let's call it. I was really happy with that. There's 59.8s in the Jurassic Park number 1, a Topps comic book, a George Perez, Gil Kane cover. Like, there's a lot to like about this one. This is the first Jurassic Park comic. I think Jurassic Park is kind of an underrated, pretty huge brand, to be honest. That'll be around for quite a while. 1 of 50 is great because it's a Topps comic. 28.6%, the 9.8 ratio, which is not too bad at all for like an undergraded book. There's not a lot of these graded, so that'll tick down over time. So I grabbed mine for $260. I think that's a price to aim for, to be honest, with a few of these going for $340. I think leading up to that hype for the, Jurassic Park domination movie. And I think during that Super Bowl, they had tons of advertisements for it. So I feel like some of that 340 auction was kind of right around when the Super Bowl was. So I'm really happy to kind of just get in on a small little cool down at $260 for one of those 50 Jurassic Park #1s in the 9.8. Hasn't came in the mail yet, yeah, so hopefully I just get it in the next few days and it's looking awesome. Because it was looking awesome in the scan, so I'm really excited to get that one. All right, team, a quick list there of 5 9.8 comics I would invest in now. Thanks so much for watching, though. I'll see you on the next one. If you're liking my content, please subscribe and hit that bell, and I'll keep you updated on future videos.